In a deeply unsettling turn of events that has captured national and international attention, Ecuadorian soccer player Jackson Rodríguez is facing one of the most traumatic moments of his life. On a recent early morning in Guayaquil, Ecuador's largest city and a hotspot of increasing violence, Rodríguez's home was invaded by a group of armed men. These intruders, allegedly searching for the athlete himself, instead abducted his wife and 5-year-old child, an act that has sent shockwaves not only through the world of sports but also across a nation already gripped by fear and instability. According to local police, the attack occurred around 3 a.m., when Rodríguez and his family were inside their residence. The assailants broke into the house with alarming precision and apparent intent. They were reportedly armed and aggressive, questioning Rodríguez's wife about his whereabouts. In a desperate attempt to protect himself and perhaps to avoid escalating the situation, Rodríguez hid beneath a bed during the break-in. The kidnappers eventually seized his wife and young daughter and fled the scene in a gray double-cab pickup truck. Since then, their whereabouts remain unknown, and the search is ongoing. This chilling incident has unfolded against a backdrop of rising violence in Ecuador, particularly in Guayaquil, a city increasingly besieged by organized crime and drug-related violence. Ecuador, once considered one of the safer countries in Latin America, has been undergoing a disturbing transformation. In recent years, the homicide rate has soared to unprecedented levels, from 6 per 100,000 inhabitants in 2018 to an alarming 47 in 2023. The government has responded by declaring states of emergency in several provinces, including Guayas, where Guayaquil is located. These emergency declarations, however, have done little to quell the wave of insecurity or to reassure citizens. Kidnappings like the one experienced by Rodríguez are no longer rare. In fact, public figures and wealthy individuals have increasingly become targets. The kidnapping of Rodríguez's family is eerily reminiscent of a similar incident involving Ecuadorian footballer Pedro Perlaza, who was abducted in December 2024. Perlaza was eventually rescued by law enforcement after a tense standoff in a jungle region near the Colombian border. Although he was fortunate to escape with his life, the trauma of such an event is lasting, and it speaks volumes about the audacity and reach of criminal groups operating within Ecuador. Rodríguez's plight has prompted an outpouring of support and outrage from the public, fellow athletes, political figures, and human rights advocates. While his football club, Emelec, has yet to issue a formal public statement, sources suggest the organization is offering Rodríguez emotional and logistical support. The Ecuadorian Football Federation has also expressed solidarity and called for swift action from authorities. Many in the sports world are also using their platforms to raise awareness about the dire security situation in Ecuador and the personal toll it continues to take on people from all walks of life. This tragedy has further ignited national conversations around government responsibility, public safety, and the inability, or unwillingness, of institutions to rein in organized crime. Many Ecuadorians have taken to social media and community forums to express their outrage and fears. For families across the country, the ordeal of Rodríguez's wife and child is a nightmarish scenario that increasingly feels all too possible in today's Ecuador. It's not just a headline, it's a reflection of the growing insecurity that has crept into even the most private corners of citizens' lives. Rodríguez, a beloved figure in Ecuadorian sports and a symbol of national pride, has suddenly become a victim of the very chaos that has destabilized his country. While there are still more questions than answers, the hope remains that the authorities, pressured now by the public and the international spotlight, will move swiftly and decisively to locate his family and bring the perpetrators to justice. Investigations are currently being led by a special task force, and officials have urged anyone with information to step forward. There is an acute sense that time is of the essence, especially considering the age of the child and the psychological toll such captivity could inflict. As the search continues, the emotional weight of this situation cannot be overstated. For Rodríguez, this isn't just a public scandal, it is a deeply personal tragedy. His child, only 5 years old, has been ripped away from her home, her safety, and her sense of normalcy. His wife has been thrown into a terrifying ordeal. These are not just statistics or faceless victims, they are real people whose lives have been torn apart. Mental health professionals have also weighed in on the broader implications of such traumatic events. Experts emphasize the long-term psychological scars that victims of kidnapping and their families often endure. From post-traumatic stress disorder and anxiety to sleep disturbances and depression, the impact can be profound and lingering. That is why many are calling for more than just law enforcement solutions. they're advocating for comprehensive victim support services that can help families like Rodríguez rebuild their lives once the immediate crisis is over. The story of Jackson Rodríguez and his family also presents a stark challenge to Ecuador's government, which is struggling to retain control amid escalating violence. President Daniel Noboa, who has pledged to crack down on organized crime, now faces renewed pressure to prove that his administration can protect its citizens, especially when the victims are high-profile individuals like Rodríguez, whose suffering resonates across the nation. The broader question that many Ecuadorians are asking is, if even national sports icons and their families aren't safe, who is? The rise in violence, particularly against public figures, suggests that criminal elements are emboldened, possibly due to a lack of consistent enforcement or judicial consequences. This incident may serve as a tipping point for renewed discussions on reform, not only in the police and judicial sectors, but also in the broader socio-economic structure that enables organized crime to flourish. In the end, the safe return of Rodríguez's wife and child is the outcome everyone is hoping for. Their disappearance has laid bare the vulnerabilities that plague not just one family, but a nation as a whole. As the investigation unfolds and the nation holds its breath, the incident has become more than a crime story. It's a sobering reminder of Ecuador's ongoing struggle with violence, and a call to action for leaders, communities, and citizens to reclaim the safety and peace they so desperately need.